The tears flowed easily for a governor whose friends, family, and connections with everyday Granite Staters were more important to him than his political agenda.
I don't intend to be downbeat. I intend to be upbeat today. I really think that's the way Steve would have wanted it.
Senator Kelly Ayotte recalled Merrill's humble approach when he was first appointed the state's attorney general and raised her eyes skyward to honor her political mentor.
And Chairman, I just want to tell you that I'm going to miss you so much.
Merrill was a gifted public speaker. His former law partner, retired Supreme Court Chief Justice John Broderick, called him the most charismatic politician he's ever seen.
Steve Merrill was a politician who wanted to win you over, not knock you over. We could learn from him.
A final tribute came from Merrill's oldest son, Ian.
Thank you to all the true American heroes in this world, and we will never forget you. And thank you, Dad. Thank you.
While Governor Merrill is remembered for his smile, Governor Craig Benson said he could deliver what he called a 100-pound stare when he needed to make a point. And it's that stare that's memorialized in Governor Merrill's portrait on the second floor of the State House. Governor Benson saying it now stands as a reminder to future leaders of New Hampshire to do the right thing. Reporting in Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Thank you to you, Adam. Tim Callery continues our coverage now with more from the friends who shared Merrill's secret to connecting with people.
Well, there were a lot of tears shed at today's ceremony, but there was also a lot of laughter as people who knew Governor Merrill on a more personal level shared memories of a man who they say was truly genuine at heart. Governor Stephen Merrill was known as someone with a real passion for New Hampshire.
Like many Granite Staters, the governor was very enthusiastic sportsman, loved the outdoors, loved the shooting sports. We did a lot of that together, and it's just really kind of part of that New Hampshire thread that you feel in the state.
Merrill was the first governor to serve as an alumnus of UNH, something he was very proud of, says Jim Rivers, Merrill's former press secretary.
He wanted to do what was right for the people of New Hampshire. He loved New Hampshire. He loved the fact that he was the first governor to graduate from UNH and become governor. So he was all about New Hampshire.
Rivers says Merrill was above politics and partisanship.
He could go toe-to-toe with the Rick Trombleys of the world and the other party and then go across the street and have a beer. And that's the way it was back then.
Colleagues who attended Friday's memorial say Merrill expected loyalty from his staff, and he also gave it, forming relationships not just as a boss, but also as a friend.
Incredibly intelligent, dedicated to his family, loved this state.
Jim Merrill, who served under Governor Merrill, says he was successful because he led by listening to the people.
He had a relatively short, window as governor, that's 4 years, but he really changed the state for the better in that time. And 25 years later, we're still talking about him.
And everyone who attended today's ceremony said Governor Merrill's legacy will truly live on in the halls of the State House. Reporting in Concord, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.